Hi guys, Alicia here, the newbie crafter. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make kind of two different projects, but I'm only going to be making one in this video. So we're going to be using a loom. Like one of these. So before I did a loop-de-loom video, and with that you kind of get some of the same techniques and that you need to have to do it, but these are a little bit more flexible and give you two different looks when you're done compared to just the woven one that the loop-de-loom gives you. So when you use these, I'm going to be using circle ones today, but you can also use these rectangle ones. These ones were in a pack of 4, and you can use one side, the other side, or do it in a round. There's a lot of different options when you use these. Same with these, but you're kind of stuck in a circle. I guess you could leave out the one peg and go back around, but I'm only going to be making a hat today, so I'm not going to be using these ones. I'm going to be using the larger one out of these two to make a hat. So this is a hat I made before. I made 3 different hats, and I think I gave 2 for Christmas gifts. But if you look on this side of this one, it's more of a braided look, and if you look on the inside, it has a different stitched look. So you can make a hat with or without a pom-pom. The pom-pom is completely optional. But the other project I made was this pillow. So I simply worked off of this loom until I ran out of one of my colors of wool. So I made it really long, and then I had this foam cylinder pillow form, and I tied in the 2 ends and I stuck the pillow inside, not necessarily in that order, and then I got this pillow here, basically following the same techniques, and it matches my bed, so we'll put that back. Now for your yarn choice, you're going to need yarn for this, yarn or wool, basically the same thing. I'm going to be using a few different thin wools. They're really thin, so using one length of that doesn't do a whole lot and give you that much of a look, and it's harder to work with and get your tension right if you're just doing one of these little threads. But if you choose many colors, you can double them up. With this one, I think I did 6 whites and 1 gray of just normal yarn or normal wool. I used a fairly chunkier wool, and then I did 3 thin ones, so you can totally mix it up, or you can get really thick wool and do that. So you can only do the really thick ones if you have large gaps in between your 2 pegs. If you're working with the thinner ones that I showed you before, you can't do the thick one because it won't fit in between the pegs, and there isn't really a way to skip a peg. So I'm going to be using the larger purple one today to make the hat. I don't actually follow the instructions on the package. I find that if I follow the instructions on the package, I get very messed up tension and it doesn't quite turn out right, and I get really confused as to what's going on, and you can't really pick up the project and leave it. Where with this, if you want to get up at any point in time, get up and do whatever, and then you can sit back down at it. So this is definitely not what the instructions say to do, but I find it works, I find my tension's right, and I find it is the best way for me to create a hat with the proper tension and not get lost and confused in my pattern. This larger purple one, it came with the other green one that I just showed you. It came in a bag. It was originally $20 and it was on sale for $10, so I got it for $10. It also comes with this hook. This hook is a 2.75mm hook. I don't actually like to use them. I find it gets my tension wrong, and it's just a really big pain in the butt to use. So I don't use one of these. They sit around and do nothing, and I've used it before on the other looms and my tension was screwed up, but we were using it so much that this thing literally snapped and broke, so we had to switch to a metal crochet hook. But I don't worry about these when I'm working on a wider loom. So to start this project, you're going to want to take all of your yarns and just find the ends and line up all of the ends. And I like to throw all my balls on the floor when I'm working. So 1 on the floor, and I'm going to do this to all of my balls of yarn. So I have all of my yarn lined up here. I have a multicolored one, 3 pinks, 1 orange, and 1 yellowy off-white. And I've just thrown all those on the floor. I'm going to set this aside, and the other thing that you're going to need for this is a pair of scissors, just to cut the wool when you're done, so we don't have a mile-long hat. So I have all of my yarn ends lined up more or less here, and I'm just going to make sure there's no bumps, so I don't want anything like this in the way, so I'm going to pull that out of there. Then I'm going to leave about 8-ish inches, and then I'm going to tie a knot around this peg that's just right here. This peg I'm going to tie a knot that I can remove later on because this is not permanent, this is just so we can start our project, and this will be removed in about 2 rows, 2 or 3 that we do. So I'm going to look at my loom now. My yarn's on the wrong side, but that's alright. I'm going to pull out some extra yarn. I find that really helps with the tension if you have extra yarn prepared, so that you're not trying to fight with that at the same time. So just getting all of, so I have a nice handful of yarn here. I'm going to unhook that and just move it over to the side a little bit. So now with this, you're going to, when you're looking at it, you're going to bring it behind the peg in front, so you're wrapping it around. And then I like to hold my finger here so that I have the right tension. So I'm going to bring it behind, in front, and then back behind, and then I slide my finger into this one. So behind, in front, and back around, and then place your finger there. So having your finger there just helps with that tension. And you really don't want it tight at this point. If it's too tight, it's going to make the rest of your project a lot harder. So go around, have a nice loose tension, and go around every peg on your loom. Alright, so I have gone around all of them. I went behind the peg, back in front, and back around. So I wrapped around each peg once. Then keeping my finger in the last one, I'm going to bring it over to this one. Same one I worked on before. It has one loop on the bottom. So I'm going to bring this back, in front, and around. And now I'm going to take this bottom loop, all the threads from before, and I'm going to bring them up on top of that loop I just made. Get my finger in that loop I just made, wrap my moving thread around, and then grab these bottom threads, the first row that we made, and bring that up and over. So I'm wrapping just like I did before, and then those threads that were there before I wrapped, I'm lifting up on top of the threads that I just wrapped. And you're simply going to do this process until your hat is as long as you want it to be. So I have loomed until I ran out of one of my colors of thread, and it's going to be just long enough to make a hat at this thing. This might be a little bit shorter than I'd recommend, but that's what I'm going to leave it at because I've just about ran out of thread, or yarn. I keep calling the thread yarn, I'm sorry about that. So what you're going to want to do with this end is, I'd recommend leaving it a little bit longer than what I did, but if you're pulling it tight at the end, it doesn't matter too much. So you're going to pull off the one loop, and just stick all of these through that loop, and then you can pull it tighter so that you have more to work with. I also recommend tying this in a knot. It makes the process just a bit easier. This is the last one, so I've just put it through the last loop, and now we're completely done with the loom. Throw that on the floor, and then I'm going to pull that through the last one and pull this nice and tight, and then take this thread and just poke it through that hole in the top. So it's all nice and tight, and we're pulling that through the hole in the top. You can pull it a little bit tighter. And then I like to tie a large knot on the inside of the hat, so nothing will come undone. So just tie a few knots, and take your scissors and just cut that off, leaving just a little bit so that the knot doesn't come undone. Now, that's the top of the hat. You can put it on just to see how it looks. Here you can see on the bottom of the hat this kind of spiral look that it already has. So you're going to tie a knot in the end of these threads. That wasn't really the end, but it's good enough. And then weave this around too, through each of those gaps, and you won't notice it that much. So there we go. That's how to make a hat using one of the circle looms. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think we're just about at 100 subscribers. Let's check. So at the time I'm filming this video, we are at 99 subscribers. So let's see if by the time I post this video, we will be at 100 subscribers. That would be awesome. So I really hope that you guys like this video. I really hope that it helps you out and you're able to create yourself a hat. If you live in Canada like me, you'll need it. There's snow. Try and stay warm. Thank you guys so much for watching. My Twitter link will be in the description box below where I'll post photos of these hats, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!